Hey everybody, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. And today we're talking about just 5 unique, weird, interesting things that are happening in Northwest Arkansas. Some are pretty cool, some are interesting, and some you definitely need to stay around for. Especially number third one. That third one is, of course, more money is being poured in here. So let's talk about that. But before we begin, if you could like this video and also subscribe, that would make the world of difference. I do try to produce as much content as humanly possible about Northwest Arkansas, obviously. Also, if you are thinking about coming down here, know that I have a 3-day itinerary link below. So maybe you are a adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're a sightseer, maybe you have kids. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that there's a 3-day itinerary link down below for you. So go ahead and download it and use it when you get down here. All right, so just a kind of overarching theme of the video here. It's a lot of Mod Podge different stuff. A lot of really different cool things here. I tried like mixing it all together, making one theme. This ain't gonna be a theme video. We're talking 5 unique things. And the first one, we're strictly focusing on medical. So it's really cool that the University of Arkansas, Washington Regional, and also the Alice Walton School of Medicine have all kind of combined together to create 92 different actual residency programs located right in Northwest Arkansas, and actually at Washington University and at the university itself. So obviously, if you weren't aware, we do have a residency program in Northwest Arkansas for medical when it comes to doctors and all sorts of specialty different things. Obviously, connected to the university, connected to the major hospitals. What we are doing is we're expanding that so we can have more medical students come here for residency versus going to other places in America. And I think this was spurred on because of the new actual school being built by Alice Walton out in Bentonville. And obviously, if you aren't aware what that school is, it's a whole health medicine school. So they're actually training doctors and nurses to be whole health centric versus other traditional medicine. So super excited to see when that's all being done and finished up. Building has started, and so that'll be done probably sometime next year. And I'm sure they're going to start 2024 fall is going to be the first semester. So really looking forward to that. So going back to the original point is that there's gonna be 92 seats available in the coming months and also years for residents to come to Northwest Arkansas and be basically finish out the residency in the area versus going elsewhere. So obviously that's a really cool thing to have more medical degree residents in Northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville specifically. But the really awesome thing is that the Northwest Arkansas Council, who kind of overarches the whole area, kind of basically making sure the area is going in the correct direction. What they did was they actually had a study back in 2018, 2019, and discovered that every resident that comes to Northwest Arkansas adds about a $715,000 value to the actual area itself. And so they've been really pushing this. They built a new building for the residents. They've been doing so many different things to get ready for this program. And this is kind of like an unspoken, unknown thing because, it's not flashy, big stuff. But every resident that comes to Northwest Arkansas and lives here, does the residency here, brings $715,000 worth of value to the area itself. So obviously they're trying to expand that and bring more people here because obviously it brings a lot of value to the whole community. And number 2, so now we're switching from medical to business. And so this is kind of like an inception kind of movie moment here. But the University of Arkansas has a startup that helps startup, and they created something called a startup village. Okay, sounds good. So basically what it boils down to is that going back to the whole core concept of Northwest Arkansas, very startup friendly. A lot of businesses are moving here. Obviously, a very tax friendly state, a very entrepreneurial state, a very, focused on business kind of area. We know this. But so the University of Arkansas has a startup within a startup within a startup that it basically allows startups to start up in a startup. Wow, my God. So basically it's called Startup Village, and it's a place for you to co-work space and actually design and grow your business near the University of Arkansas. So the reason this is really popular, and this is kind of a new thing, it's really popular, is there's a lot of other places that do this as well. Startup Junkie, there's a lot of places in Bentonville, there's a lot of places in Fayetteville. This is kind of like an add-on because not only do you get the university connection point, because obviously there's a lot of businesses built out of the university between medical and supply chain, Walmart School of Business, obviously Walton School of Business. And then we have the Startup Junkie located right in Fayetteville. So this is all kind of connected in that realm. And so what they're trying to do is obviously get more businesses here and basically make it the easeability of starting a business, lowering the threshold. And so you can apply online and obviously get access to it. But the biggest thing they allow and they have there available at the facilities is just the ability to have a team there, work out of there, and it lowers your cost of entry, obviously your physical brick mortar, kind of stuff, having offices drastically because it's free, obviously. And so, if you are looking to move your business down here, know that there's a lot of co-working spaces and NWA specifically wants to help your business. Whoa, before I jump on to the next point, I have something brand new called Instant Home Updates. So maybe you're looking to move down to Northwest Arkansas or maybe rent down here and you're using things like Realtor.com or Zillow. Way too slow. So I made something called Instant Home Updates. Sounds exactly what it is. Instant Home Updates. Wild. I know. So obviously what you'll notice right away is that all those other ones take way too long. Notifications, you're gonna miss out on so many different things. So if you enter information below, like square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, etc., I'll make sure that you get notified right away with anything that hits the market in Northwest Arkansas. Also, every single Friday, I send an email out just kind of talking about all things Northwest Arkansas. So, you know, what's going on here? Businesses, comedians, bands, all the different things. New death metal albums from coffee shops. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you are looking to keep about all things Northwest Arkansas, just enter your information below, email, and I just send out an email out every single Friday. But here's the little sad part about it, is that you will get a little fear of missing out, a little FOMO, as one would say. So just know that you're gonna want to get here faster, just a heads up. But one thing I do admit is that you will be the most informed person eventually when you make your way down to Northwest Arkansas. And number 3, and this is just, are we ever surprised anymore about trail systems and money being dumped in Northwest Arkansas? No shocker. But Northwest Arkansas received a $3 million grant for a lot of the trail systems located right here. So some of the big winners for that were like Farmington. They have a $400,000 basically grant given to them to expand the Northwest Arkansas Regional Mobility, won a $500,000 grant to actually run another trail system along Highway 112, which is like in the center of Northwest Arkansas. So like Goshen, actual Pea Ridge, all these other cities around the area have been getting these big grants to basically expand their trail systems, because obviously Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, Fayetteville, they have a lot of money being able to use for the trail systems. And so some of these smaller towns on the outskirts are being a lot of grants as well, giving a lot of grants, because they're all going to be connected at some point in the very, very near future, obviously. And so that's kind of the master plan. And so a lot of these grants help that kind of shuffle along so that Northwest Arkansas is truly connected with bike paths, alternative transportation paths. And it's going to be wild to see how a lot of these different grants are used and what kind of trail systems are developed based on this whole plan. And number 4 is we're going over to the Amazeum, so kind of like a kid-centric kind of theme now. We're jumping all over the place today. But the other one I want to talk about is the brand new exhibit at the Amazeum, and it's called In the Making, When Ideas Come to Life. And so this is a fascinating new exhibit in the Amazeum. If you don't know what the Amazeum is, basically it's a hands-on, instructional, really cool, fun place for kids located right next to Crystal Bridges. Imagine just a place full of color, full of exploration, full of really cool just things, hands-on tools like moving things, making things, creating things, doing things. That is the Amazeum in a nutshell, essentially. And so they're adding this new exhibit to kind of, as they describe it, to see the messy middle of like experimentation, of scientific work, of growing ideas, inventions. And so what they're doing is kind of showcasing how the messy middle of like where things like kind of got caught in the middle and where they ended up being. And so as you know, as a person, you sometimes when you do something or a creative to some extent, there's kind of that messy middle because you're like, this isn't what I'm really looking forward to doing, but I know eventually get there. And so you see a lot of inventors and scientists have that messy middle, and now they're showcasing this to kids, saying like, it's okay, it's good to experiment, it's good to try things when it comes to science, it's good to push the boundaries when it comes to those things, because it might be messy at the moment, but eventually you'll find something really cool. And I think it's awesome that the Amazeum keeps pushing boundaries when it comes to how kids learn and experience things, because not everyone wants to learn from a book, not everyone wants to learn from a video. Sometimes they need to be hands-on, and Amazeum is just for that. It's so awesome. And number 5, and this is just more of a, we'll call it a funny one, and this is kind of coffee related. If you don't know, one of the bigger brands in Northwest Arkansas when it comes to coffee is Onyx Coffee. They're known kind of worldwide for being almost laboratories and scientists of coffee, very, very dedicated to making the best cup of coffee, whether it's just good old black soul coffee, or if it's just like, you know, almost like a mixture, like a latte kind of like experimental kind of stuff. They're known for that. They've won all sorts of awards, we know. But the really cool thing, and this is where their marketing genius comes into play, but they actually made a death metal album for Onyx Coffee. And I was like, excuse me, what? So Onyx Coffee made an album, death metal, screamo, the whole thing, hilarious. And when I think they did, I didn't ask this question because I just assumed it. But if you listen to the album, I'll obviously link it below and put a screen here. But obviously, it's called Cry for Yelp. It's based off of a coffee style that they're doing called Cry for Yelp, and so they based that off of they based the album off of that. So I think what they did here is they took some interesting poor reviews from their Google reviews. I don't know, or maybe this made this, I don't know, I didn't find them, but they're hilarious. I definitely write. So they did is they took the actual lyrics of the reviews themselves and made them into lyrics, and then put a death metal album over it, and it's really funny. Definitely worth checking out. Obviously, you know, it's one of those things where you just might want to put into like obviously your Spotify playlist for maybe an angry day. This is a good angry album. You just want to yell out to the world and maybe talk about coffee quality and stuff like that. Definitely listen to Onyx Coffee Lab's new banging album called Cry for Yelp. Off the charts, obviously. I'll put the links below, but that's Onyx for you. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. We're all over the place, but one thing we're not over the place is we're going to talk about the 3-day itineraries. If you are coming down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itineraries link below. Maybe you're an adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're a sightseer, maybe you have kids. I don't know. But what I do know is that there's so much to do in Northwest Arkansas. I made a 3-day itinerary link below, so you can just enter your email and you can download them right away. Also, when you do come down here, I can give you the $10 tour so I can kind of show around the whole area. Plus, we can check out some homes for sale or for rent and see how far your dollar will go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, let's see you next one.